You said that at the universities, there's no chance that BDS will be adopted.
That's right.
But if at the universities, if the students' hearts and minds are being influenced, for instance, at Princeton, they just now had a referendum last week on the BDS. It was voted down, but only by about 100 votes out of nearly 2,000. So if you have about half the student body that's supporting BDS, is BDS really winning on the campuses?
Yes, it's winning on the campuses because it's changing minds, it's influencing people. There shouldn't be a close vote on BDS. There shouldn't be a close vote. And the fault, and here I'm going to get some criticism because I'm in an academic setting. In 50 years of teaching at Harvard, and I've taught at other universities as well, I've never met a less courageous group of people than tenured professors who don't have the guts to stand up to the loud-mouthed people on the hard left who try to create an atmosphere of global correctness on campus. Now, there are exceptions, and one of the exceptions is sitting right next to me here, who has been brave and bold, and I'm sure there are others in this audience who are exceptions to that rule. And I can name one or two at Harvard, but not very many. This year, Ruth Weiss and I both retired from Harvard in the same year, and that meant the pro-Israel voices at Harvard disappeared, and there are very, very few left. Now, there are many pro-Israel people at Harvard, but what happens when I give a speech, I'll get a call the next day, and this call will go like this. Thank you, Allan. What are you whispering for? Thank you, Allan, for speaking up on behalf of Israel. Well, why don't you speak up? Well, my student evaluations will suffer. I might not be invited to join the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. I won't be asked to do a review by the New York Times. My students won't love me. My colleagues won't invite me to dinner. Well, you know, tenure means speaking your mind. And I do believe that pro-Israel sentiments on college campuses today are still in the majority among faculty and among students. But the most vocal are the anti-Israel, and the most silent are the pro-Israel. And that has a big impact on students. Let me tell you a story. I told it last night. If any of you were there, I'll repeat it. I had a student named Joel Pollack. You may know him. He ran for Congress in Illinois, lost. He now runs Breitbart Publications. Terrific student from South Africa, Jewish kid from South Africa, brilliant, brilliant young man. Came to Harvard Law School, was a great student, and in his last year, he decided to take a course from Duncan Kennedy, who was teaching a course on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Now, Duncan Kennedy doesn't know anything about the Israel-Palestine conflict. I don't know that he's ever been in the Middle East. You know, when it comes to Israel-Palestine, he's just a hard lefty, and everybody who's a hard lefty has to teach a course on Israel-Palestine, and it has to be one-sided. You can't get admitted to the hard left club unless you've taught a course on Israel-Palestine, even if you know nothing about it. So he decided to teach that class, and the syllabus was distributed, and all it was propaganda. All anti-Israel propaganda articles, nothing from the center at all, and certainly nothing from the pro-Israel perspective. So Joel went over to him and said, Professor, I'm going to be in your class, but I see the syllabus, and it's all hard left, anti-Israel stuff. Don't you think you ought to have? And he gave him a list of things, not my writings, not the case for Israel, nothing like that, just centrist writings of an academic nature about the disputed nature of what an occupation means, about what the law of war is, all of those things. And Kennedy said to him, look, sir, it's my class, I'll decide what to assign. And Joel looked him in the eye and said, it's not your class, you don't own the class. I'm going to have a website in which I have alternate articles for every one of your articles. I'm going to have another article that shows a different perspective. I'll announce it before you come into the class. If the students want to read it, they can read it. I'll put it on the blackboard. By the end of the semester, more students were reading Joel's material than were reading Professor Kennedy's material, because Joel's material was more balanced. I don't know what grade Joel got, and he didn't care. But for students who cared, that's a gutsy move. But you know, with the website and with modern technology, you just don't have to take it from the professors. And you know, there are two kinds of ways in which this anti-Israel stuff is perpetuated on campuses. Tragically, sometimes even in the classroom itself. And recently a tape recording was made of a woman speaking at a Modern Language Association, I think it was, conference, in which she was telling the teachers how to smuggle anti-Israel propaganda into courses on literature. I represented a man once, a few years ago, many years ago, named Bruce Franklin at Stanford. He was a Maoist. And he taught a course on Hawthorne and Melville, but the students called it Hawthorne and Maoville, because they never read dick. They never read Scarlet Letter. They read only what he wanted them to read. He was using Melville and Hawthorne to propagandize students. So you can do it in the classroom. Obviously, you have academic freedom to do it outside the classroom. You don't have academic freedom to propagandize in the classroom. I very deliberately don't teach courses on the Middle East because I have very strong views about them. That's not my academic specialty. That's my political specialty. I teach courses on criminal law and legal theory and things of that kind. But too many professors abuse the lectern by using the classroom to propagandize students, and it has an impact.